Hey everybody, I'm Isaac Stroman, and today I'm going to be presenting how color impacts consumers and audiences around the world, and how businesses use color to market towards normal people as well as people that are affected by color vision dependency, which is also known as color blindness. So to introduce it, I wanted to address the fact or the statistic that color blindness or color vision dependency affects 1 in 12 men in the world and 1 in 200 women in the world. In total, combining men and women, this is approximately 5% of our global population that is affected by color blindness. So I kind of wanted to explore how businesses would market to people that are colorblind and how color affects our day-to-day lives in general. As we're all aware, color influences the way we see things. The emotions that are evoked from us come from color. Each color is used by businesses to kind of evoke certain feelings and emotions out of their consumers and audiences. But with 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women that are born colorblind, it does affect marketing strategies. And it does, because we all know that color affects the way that we live, we see things, the way we shop, and even other aspects of the world. So in this speech, we're going to address how businesses advertise to people with color blindness, like including their strategies and how they go about it. How businesses, even if they even try to market to people that are colorblind, if that 5% is irrelevant to businesses. And finally, how much of a role color plays in our world and how much of a role color plays when it comes to business. So the first point I wanted to address in this speech is how businesses advertise differently to those who are colorblind or suffer from color vision dependency. There's a quote that I found that says, "Designs that use color alone to convey certain information or certain color combinations may not be accessible to colorblind people. For example, black text on a red background page or the use of a small font against certain colors is not able to be seen by those who are colorblind." So this kind of makes you think how, if you were a business owner, or if you worked for a marketing team, how this would affect part of your audience or part of your consumer group. This kind of just addresses the fact that somebody's taking into account that businesses do realize that they do need to market to people who are colorblind, and they can't just focus on the rest of the population. Additionally, another quote I found was, "Make sure sales of tickets and merchandising online, either via your website or a Ticketmaster site, are accessible for colorblind users. Be careful especially of using colored sections to denote differently priced tickets on a stadium plan, or red, orange, and green to denote unavailable / available seating." So this kind of just addresses the idea that businesses are aware that they have consumers that are colorblind, and they are making efforts so that these colorblind consumers / audiences are also able to see the same things that us normal people, I guess not normal, but people with normal vision are able to see, kind of equating all of consumers together. The next support I wanted to use I wanted to address are the most colors used by businesses and how they evoke emotions out of their audiences. So right now I'm going to talk about the primary colors that businesses use. It can go past in school. Businesses use to evoke certain emotions from their audiences. The first color I wanted to talk about was red. Let me see if I can grab this. Is red. When businesses market to people or consumers and they use the color red, it evokes a certain emotion like urgency, or it could evoke, I guess, anger, or what else? It was, ultimately it creates a sense of urgency. That's why I kind of put a clock, because it's red and you wake up in the morning, it's kind of an urgent thing to do. Next, the second most popular color that businesses use to market to their consumers is blue. And blue is actually the favorite color of men, which is why a lot of businesses use it. It's the most common, average favorite color of men. That's why most businesses use it, and they target men when using this color, because it creates a sense of tranquility and peace, which I guess is popular among the male population. The third most popular color that businesses use is green. And green is associated with health and nature. So if businesses are advertising for a certain product that has to do with the earth or the world or the environment, green is usually the most popular color to reach their audience. And the fourth most popular color is purple. And purple is commonly associated with royalty, wisdom, and respect. This is a popular marketing color for women because women, I guess, when you think of the color purple, you think of like flowers, and you think of like maybe high class things that not just would entice women, but would entice a lot of people. But it is just really a pretty color that women enjoy. It's popular among the female population. But I wanted to talk about how colorblind people, how this would affect the way they see these colors, because these aren't visible through all audiences, since there is 5% of the world that is affected by CVD. So I found a thing online, a quote, and it shows the steps of how businesses are able to stimulate colors for colorblind people so that this purple or that green or that red or that blue can appear the same way that a person without CVD would see it, which is truly interesting because it shows that businesses are able to stimulate colors so that all audiences are able to see the same thing, which I thought was super cool, that they're taking that into account so that everybody can experience the same emotions when seeing something. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was how important color is in big business. I know I've already kind of addressed it, but color ultimately in our world affects the way we feel about things, we see things, like I previously said. This quote talks about an article, and it says, in an appropriately titled study called The Impact of Color in Marketing, researchers found that up to 90% of snap judgments made about products can be based on color alone, which is super interesting because it shows the impact that color makes when we're searching for products or when we're seeing things. It's just, like it says, it's a snap judgment, which is super interesting how much role color plays in our world. But in conclusion, I want to thank you guys for listening, and I hope that you kind of understood the impact of color and how businesses use color and how businesses take into account how color reaches those who are colorblind in our world. But we discussed the role of color as consumers see it in the world and how it affects businesses and its consumers and how they purchase things. We also discussed about how businesses are able to manipulate their marketing strategies so that they are able to entice all audiences, including those who suffer from CVD. And all in all, color makes the world a special place, and I think that it's something that we should all kind of consider more when we see things, because I think it is really something that we take into account. But I want to thank you all for listening, and thank you.